So we do have Sandra King. Okay, and please state your name and who you represent, and if you are on, for, or against HB 575.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the opportunity to speak before this committee in support of House Bill 575. My name is Sandra King, and I live in Fort Worth, Texas, and I'm with the Texas Family Law Foundation. This bill may not help me, but it's a start, and it will help others. It saddens me to address this committee. I know all too well the experience of having been denied the right to see my grandchildren. However, in November of last year, at a post-divorce continuation custody hearing, the judge exercised his judicial discretion and awarded me my daughter's visitation schedule. But this is only temporary and can change with a final court order. It was 9 years ago that I retired from my progressive career in New Jersey state government and moved to Texas to be in the lives of my 3 grandchildren. I had at-will visitation with them since their birth. Initially, their parents welcomed all that I had to offer to support them in raising their family and caring for the girls. My private school tuition payments, child care services, transporting the girls to and from school and after-school sports events, to medical appointments and attending school events in the absence of their parents. I turned down many opportunities of employment because I wanted to help out and make memories with my grandchildren now that I had reached the autumn of my life. My granddaughters and I vacationed together, enjoyed cultural events, and regularly worshiped together. Aside from my daughter, who is my only child, my grandchildren are my only relatives in Texas. 3 years ago, my grandchildren's parents divorced and are still engaged in a custody battle. Dad has remarried and was awarded temporary custody because Mom accepted employment out of state, and Dad denied Mom's request to take the girls with her and denied my request to have visits with the girls. Not knowing Texas family laws, I thought I could just go to the court system. The attorney I hired told me it would require a $1,000 retainer fee and detailed documentation of my 6 years of my involvement with my grandchildren. Who keeps calendar events of time spent with their grandchildren? My attempts to complete the assignment were futile. Remembering was just too painful, so I relied upon prayer. Experts have well documented the important role of grandparents play in the growth and development of a child. When a child experiences the trauma of divorce and other life changes, it is essential that that support system stay intact. Children should not be re-traumatized by eradicating their relationships with their grandparents. Divorce is primarily when grandparents become alienated from their grandchildren, which was the situation in my case. It is a divorce and custody processes that oftentimes give rise to a level of anger among parents, where the children suffer collateral damage and parents lose sight of what's in the best interests of the child. Opponents of House Bill 575 argue that the bill will infringe upon the rights of parents as a decision maker, which is so far from the truth. As a grandparent, and at this stage in my life, I am not interested in raising my grandchildren. I don't think any grandparent wants to have that responsibility late in their lives. Raising my grandchildren's parent was hard enough work. All I want to do is love them, share with them stories about my family as my grandmother did with me, make lasting memories, and be that place where they feel safe and know that they matter, especially in difficult times when they can escape parental conflicts and send them back home. I pray that this committee will support House Bill 575. I commend Representative Harold Dutton Jr. for his insight and willingness to introduce and sponsor House Bill 575. Passage of this bill is but a first step. There's still a long way to go. How important are grandparents? According to the most recent AARP statistics, in Texas, there are approximately 634 children living in the household with grandparents. Approximately 634,000 children living in households with grandparents. Approximately 314,000 grandparents are of households responsible for their grandchildren who live with them, with racial and ethnic minorities representing the largest population of grandparents with grandchildren who they are responsible for, making the case that grandparents are important in Texas.
Wait. Sorry. Members, do you have any questions? No. Thank you for your testimony. I have some questions. What would you present if, let's say, this bill were to pass, that would be the type of access or possession periods that you would want to have with your grandchildren?
I think, as I look at what I have now with regards to my daughter's visitation, that is not what I was looking for. I accept it because that's all I can get, and I would never deny not seeing them. But certainly the opportunity, when, number one, requested by the children, and when I feel that there's some special situation that I want to be involved with. One of the things that my granddaughter, who is 13, who is now in therapy as with regards to this, is saying, I just want my family. I am being denied participation in birthdays, parties, holidays, and that is really traumatic for someone that's just going through beginning the adolescent stage of her life, where she's used to having me involved. So I see, I don't think that you can say, well, I want every other, I want, it's on a case-by-case difference. And I know that I've been really involved in their lives. And so I have always done the kinds of things that their parents weren't able to do. I'm the one that takes them to plays. I'm the one that takes them, even the little one, I'll take her to the playground because her parents are working. And I have the time to do that.
So you're not wanting like a carved out type of
no,
no. That, I guess, possession order. So are you asking for something to be along the lines of it's their birthday, it's Mother's Day, it's things where maybe you would have been included but your daughter is not available, but you would kind of like to be included? Is that what you're asking?
Right, but I think that it's even before that. The whole notion that I was told you don't even have standing. It's like, that's the thing. Give me the wherewithal to go into a court and say, this has been my relationship, and it not cost me a whole lot of money because I then have to secure a lawyer who is saying, well, you've got to do X, Y, and Z, and you've got to have these, expert testimony. How can you get expert testimony if you don't have access to the child to prove the things that you're trying to prove?
Right. I can appreciate your perspective. I'm just thinking about on the other side of it, and let's say that there's a parent that maybe you've got the two parents are going through a divorce, right? And one parent maybe has primary, but now a grandparent comes in, and now this person that had primary has to then afford another attorney to handle this case.
Well, what I don't understand is why the situation exists in the beginning. I live 3 miles from my grandchildren. That is absolutely ridiculous. I've been used to being the person that's been called, can you get the kids because I can't make it there? Can the kids stay with you because I'm late at work? I've been that person, and I don't know why it's changed. And so I want the opportunity to go and present my case to a judge to explain or to hear an explanation without all of these obstacles that make it impossible for me to do so.
So you're basically wanting to be able to go to the court and not have to come up with all of the what's the proper term for that? Where it's like where they're investigating it's like pre-work, like the discovery. Yeah, discovery. So you basically don't want to have to do discovery.
From the standpoint that it exists now, that you've got to have expert testimony to show that this is detrimental or has some emotional bearing on the child. How do you do that under the current situation? I think that this bill relaxes that and allows me to do that, would allow me to do that.
Well, I can see what you're saying. I'm just wondering what the protocol would be, rather than just, this is so open, that you would need to have something that's to where it could be used. Like if it were to pass, that it would be able to say, this is you're able to have visitation during birthdays, or you're able to pick up children from school. You know what I mean?
And see, and I think that that's part of what causes the problem, because it's so structured. I never wanted a structured kind of situation with my I mean, that's unrealistic to me. I feel the need to see them. My position has always been pick up the phone, hi, are the kids available? No, they're not. Well, I want to do this. That works for me. I don't know whether it works for anyone, but it works for me. But now that I'm locked into this first, third, and fifth, you can't imagine how much my life has changed.
I can, but I'm just trying to figure out how a court would be able to enforce, just if they said, yes, you're allowed to have access to your grandchildren, they have to be able to give them a definition of what that means.
And again, I'm saying, why does it necessarily have to be so structured that it's in the legislation, that it's the first, the third, the fifth, or that it's holidays? I'm in a good place with my daughter. So I know that come holidays and the kids are with her because I have her visitation, I'm going to see those kids, you know. But the whole notion of times that with their dad, that's his time with them. I just want to be at this point, if he decides to go back and again challenge the issue, where am I? My daughter's not here, so where am I?
So right now you're getting
I have my daughter's visitation.
Okay. So you have her visitation, but you want to have something in addition or something?
No. I am saying that while this may not help me, but at any time it could change, because if he decides that, oh, well, I'm going to challenge this and we're going back into court, I have no standing, because my daughter, she's not living here right now, and this is still an open case.
Right. Well, do you think, like, let's say that this bill did pass, do you think that the father, that he would work with you on this to say, okay, well, now we have this legislation that says that I can have reasonable access? Do you think that he's going to be helpful?
But I'm not sure that's what the bill says. I just think that it says it allow, and correct me if I'm wrong, basically it is relaxing so that a grandparent can then go to the courts and say, I am the grandparent and I am petitioning. It doesn't, other than, because the judge can still say, based on the information, yes or no. But at this point, I can't go and do that because I have no standing. That's what I'm being told.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? No? All right, thank you.